Assalamu alaikum, all of you. Good morning. Okay, this is me, Dr. Hani Hasani, and I give the course of Grammar 3 at Isra University English Department. So I would like to welcome all of you. Before we start that lesson, I want to remind you again that the first video that we made previously, it's all about subject-verb agreement, but today we need to continue using there plus be. So previously we just focused on quantity, subject-verb agreement with present simple and other issues, but this time we need to continue 5.5 subject-verb agreement using there plus be and the other unit that related to expressions. Later we will show you in 5.6. Okay, here we have in the book Understanding and Using English Grammar, edition 2000 or 5th edition, the year of copy 2017. So let's start with A. There is a fly in the room. So the rule here, it shows there B introduces the idea that something exists in particular place. So the particular place that we are looking for is the room. Here we define a particular place for it, and we just keep it singular for the verb. There are 3 windows in this room. So we look at the same place as well, and we calculate how many windows, or maybe in other rooms we can calculate how many doors. So here there be subject plus expression of place. The subject follows be when there is used. So here in example A, a fly is singular and B, 3 windows are plural. So I think it's very simple to all of you to guess and understand what's going on here. I don't think that that lesson will be hard to you. Number 2 we have, or C, we have informal. There is 2 sides to every story. So we didn't say there are 2 sides, we said there is. Why? Because here they say informal speaking. So when we talk about informal, we can break the numbering. For other point of view, for formal, we should say there are 2 sides to every story. So for here, we can guess that informal speaking and writing could be in another way. The use of this form is fairly frequent, but isn't generally considered to be grammatically correct. It means we couldn't follow this style in answering international exams like TOEFL or IELTS, or writing in the essays. So keep in your mind that this way is for your chatting or speaking with friends. Okay, here another note. Sometimes the expression of place is omitted when the meaning is clear. For example, there are 7 continents. يعني عندنا 7 قارات. The implied expression of place is clearly in the word. So we have here exercise 16. You can answer it by is or isn't, are and aren't. We have aren't here. You can check the numbering, or you can check here there is a good reason for everything happen. There are people or beings on other planets. So there is, or there are enough resources. You are trying to calculate or to find out whether there is a plural or not. And the next exercise, you can what we call, you just follow the listening, but we don't have right away. We could continue exercise 18. This one is important for the questions. Why? Because it has all the elements that we are looking for we have to choose the correct verb for every sentence. So when we say many people, we have to choose the plural verb for treat. These words have. When we say there is a difference, because we have one difference. For people follow the weather, however, there is a difference. You can continue it and follow the second story, thief vs robber and burglar. Here we have to differentiate between the three definitions or the three words. It's related to thief or stealing something, but each one has a function. Like here, you can read the story and find out what do we mean. Like here, a burglar illegally enters a structure with the intent to commit a crime. يعني هنا بتكلم بشكل عام على الشخص اللي هو بيعمل سطو. طيب تمام. Okay, fine. So at this exercise we can recognize how it's important. For exercise 19, so we have to understand that subjects and verbs in blue in each pairs. Some of them are exceptions to the rule. For example, noun end in S usually take a plural verb. So here when we say nations are, we try to do what we call the warming up, and here the way for doing it, you can just have a look at it and find out which one of this irregular. So I leave it to you for next time. We can discuss it together into Zoom class. Let's move to the next one. Here we have subject verb agreement, some irregularities. So we try to understand here about the irregularities. These irregularities cause so many problems to students. You have to keep in your mind how to memorize them, to understand how to answer quick questions online. So if we have later on online test, you can get the quick answer based on your understanding. And the United States is big. So here, United States, it's one country. So we keep the one country, even it looks like many states, but it all refers to America. That's why we keep it as. Philippines consists of more than 7,000 islands. So Philippines looks like not one Philippine, many Philippines, but in the same time we have to remember or to remind you that Philippines is just one country. The United Nations has its headquarters in New York City. So United Nations is an international organization, and it's like main headquarters or main place, it's in New York. Harrods is a department store. So we have these examples, but these examples, all of them, they are singular names. That's why we keep the verb singular. Sometimes a proper noun that ends with S is singular. An example that we had in these four, A, B, C, D, and because of this the noun is singular. The United States, it refers to it, not they. The news is interesting. نتكلم عن الأخبار. The news is interesting because it's non-countable noun and it takes a singular verb. We have other words later, you can find it, like we have data, and we have words like mathematics. Mathematics is easy for her. Physics is also easy for her. Fields of study ends with ICS, require singular verbs. So when we say mathematics, رياضيات, physics, فيزياء, it requires singular verb, that's for sure. And here we have diabetes. سكري يعني is an illness. Certain illness that end with or ns are singular: diabetes, measles, mumps, rabies, rickets, and shingles. So we have these diseases or these words as a disease end with s. We deal with them as a singular, not a plural. So you need to memorize all of these words as well, just to avoid the mistakes and errors. We have here H, I, and G. We can look at them for one more time. So we have here 8 hours of sleep is enough. So we slept, or somebody sleep 8 hours, and the expression of time, money, and distance usually require singular verb. So if you say 8 hours of sleep is not are enough, because the timing is still under the singular expression. $10 is too much to pay. 5,000 miles is too far to travel. So we can understand that the irregularities from that point when we look at money or at time, money, and distance. We can see how many students still commit mistakes in that field. So again, expressions of time, like here, or money, or the distance, too far is too far for travel. We have here 2 and 2 is 4, 2 and 2 equals 4, and 2 plus 2 is equals 4. 5 times 5 is 25. So the moment here, arithmetic expressions require singular verbs. So we are here dealing with arithmetic expressions like summation, or when you do kind of minus something. So all of the arithmetic expressions, 2 and 2 is 4. So here we try to do summation and we count them as 1. So 2 and 2 is 4. 2 and 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we can see how the expressions of the arithmetic or the calculations can be under the singular verb. 5 times يعني 5 مرات مضاعف، يعني لما يكون نعمل الاشي 5 مرات. 5 times 5 is 25، يعني 5 times doing it 5 times by 5, so it will be the answer for it 25. Okay, fine. The next point of plural verb. So when we talk about plural verb, we have here to understand also the words in detail. Like here we have those people are from Canada. Again, we have M-N-O-P. I said those people. The police have been called. Cattle are domestic animals. Fish live underwater. So here we have a word. We need to understand that people, police, cattle, and fish do not end in s, even though they are plural noun in the example sentences and require plural verb. Why? Because if I say fish, it doesn't mean like one kind of fish. It means all the fish that live under the water or in the sea or ocean. That's why a lot of kinds, but as a human being we cannot differentiate all of them in the same time. Sometimes we can find around 20 types or sort of fish in front of our eyes. So that's why we keep it plural verb. Cattle are domestic animal. So here we are dealing with a herd of cattle. So that's why we cannot define it as one. So we keep it generalized. That's why we make it a. The police have been called. The police, they are not one police. If they say policeman, it will be another story. But if they keep it police, it means I mean all the police institution. I need them for something. So the police have been called. Those people are from Canada. يعني الناس كانوا من كندا طبعا بيكونوا مجموعة. Okay, so we have for examples here. It looks like singular subject, but in the same time it's tricky because we need to understand that these names or proper names or whatever names that given here, it's not belong to singular type, it belongs to all of types, or it can be generalized. That's why we need to keep the verb plural. That's also very tricky for students, and it made them committed a mistake somehow in international exams. We have here singular verb, plural verb. English is spoken in many countries. The English drink tea. So the first one, English, is a language as it mentioned here. And the second one, the English, it means English people. The English people drink tea. Chinese is his native language. So Chinese, it means الصينية يعني هي لغته الأصلية أو لغته الأم. So the Chinese have an interesting history. يعني الصينيين لديهم تاريخ ممتع أو حافل بالأحداث. So some nouns of nationality that end in SH, ESE. So the point here, you need to understand that SH and ESE and CH are different. Why? Can either language or people, like Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Vietnamese, Portuguese, French. So all of these nationalities can refer to language or can also refer to the people of the country. That's why it has either answer or both of them can be acceptable or possible for the answer. You have to back for the context. After you check the context, you can understand what is the exact answer. So here we have another U and V. The poor have many problems, the rich get richer. So this one, it's kind of adjective. They say kind of few adjective preceded by the and used as a plural without final s. So the poor, if I say the poor, I mean the community of people who are poor or live in poverty. However, if I look at the word from the first glance, I can see it looks like singular. But keep in your mind, you have to go deeper into the context and understand that there is a definite article the. And when you say the poor, it means the community of poor people or poverty. And that's why we are not counting only one person, we are counting their own whole community that needs your concentration during the exam or during your study. And here, other examples: the young, the elderly, the living, the dead, the blind, the deaf, the disabled. So I here call upon the whole community. When I say the elderly, it means all the people, the living, those who are still alive, and the dead who just died in the previous year, and the blind, those who cannot see anything. Maybe it looks like a huge community. The deaf, also, if I am in the hospital and I can call for those who are deaf. The disabled, if I find the special need people, I can tell them, you, the disabled people, you are welcome for the session. So the rich get richer. Also here, it's a tricky kind of sentence. So when you say rich, or when you pronounce the word rich, you will get in your mind that this word for sure is kind of singular, but later when you go deeper to find it, like the rich get richer because they are community of rich people. So for now we have to understand that we look at all the elements for subject-verb agreement, and here we have last note. The word people has final s, like peoples, only when it used to refer to ethnic or national groups. All the peoples of the world desire peace. So sometimes, like if I say peoples of Palestine, like Palestinian peoples, so I mean the community of Palestine itself. So national groups or ethnic groups, I can use peoples to give them more speciality or kind of specific distinction, and that's why you can understand the meaning of its what we call specificity or kind of a special point here. Okay, we have here exercise 20. Choose the correct completions. So if you look at this exercise, you can find out how it reminds you with the previous notes. You can answer them based on the notes that mention above the page. The United States, you say, has. The New York Times is an established and respected newspaper, because here we say New York Times, it's about magazine, one magazine. It looks like Times, like plural, but it's for sure it's one newspaper. Statistics is, we say that any word ends with ICS, it's about science, and it's one science. That's why we keep the verb is. We have here statistics in that report on oil production are. Why here? Because the statistics looks like here it's not a science. It looks like the graphs, or it looks like a lot of graphs or diagrams already are drawn for that report. So that's why we understand that are incorrect. It's not one, there are many. 15 minutes is the maximum length of time for the test, not are, because here it's timing. Rabies is an infectious and often fatal disease. We say any kind of disease end with S, it means, or ES, it looks like a singular one. French is somewhat similar to Spanish, isn't it? So that's the way that we are looking for. We have another exercise 21. If you look at this exercise, you can find that choose correct word or numbers, then complete the sentences with is or are. So here you need to get a point from understanding the sentence. Like here, the Scots for Scottish, the Irish for the Ireland people, and the English for those who are living in UK. The English are famous for education institutions like Oxford and Cambridge. So for you to choose that answer, you have to understand that how many in the whole sentence. Like we can find here Oxford and Cambridge, for sure this is for England, not for Irish or Scottish. We have here statistics or linguistics is the study of structure and nature of language. We have here, if we say blood sugar illness, so diabetes is blood sugar illness. Here we have Afrikaans is the official language of Namibia. People from Canada are called Canadians. So you can continue the answer of all questions. We have here like kind of let's talk kind of exercise for talking. And the last, I think, here for exercise 23, we have chapter review. So working team, combine the phrases in the left column with the phrases on the right, add pronunciation or punctuation. All of people in the exercise class need to wear athletic shoes. So for here, what we need is to understand all of the sentences and try to combine the sentences together and make like kind of rows between one to another. It needs some of concentration by you or your friends. Make sure that you can answer it before the end of this week. We have here exercise 24. Let's also talk. This depends on you if you like to do it somehow. And exercise 25, also a revision. That's a good question that you need to look at it. 25 as a review. This is a review for the whole unit or the whole chapter 5. The first one, the book in my office are very valuable to me. So the books, because here the subject are plural, or the subject is plural, and the verb should be plural. All of the windows in our house. So you say all of the windows. So here we should change them to were broken. Were broken because it's plural subject. You can also look at them carefully and understand all the meaning. Like here, if we look at this one, a group of students are waiting for advising office to open. So here, I don't think this one, a group of students is waiting or are waiting. So we have to understand that this one, it's already correct. A group of students are waiting for the advising office to open. So why here we didn't change it to is, even we have students. I mean, some they find out like a group. So we said last time, if you find it indefinite article like a or an, we follow the word before the verb. So here we have students, so it is are. But if you find it like here, the group of students, we will say is. The group of students, we define it as one. So here is correct. That's my way to convey the message to you. I wish you already have what we need from the whole chapter, even though like here you can check out kind of writing skill. If you need to enhance your writing ability, you can check all the exercises at the end of each chapter. Here we have exercise 26, reading and writing. We have tipping. You can check out what's the meaning of tipping. Tipping is a common practice throughout the world, although the custom can differ considerably among countries. So here you need to look at the verb in bold and underline the word that determine the agreement. So when you try to answer of the question or to check out what's going on, you just need to read it carefully and find how it's a way of writing. This is for practicing a way of writing. You can also make sure that the exercise totally for enhancing your level of reading, enhancing your vocabs. You can practice more and more with your friends. That's how you can reach a good stage of maximum or mastering that subject and verb agreement for chapter 5. So we have here last of chapter 5 writing tips. You can check out how we can write, and then you can see like here kind of questions. Edit your writing, check for the following. when you write, you have to check singular verbs. So it's not our thinking here to check all these elements, but I'm trying to show you how it looks like. So this chapter ends in 93, page 93. You can go through back and answer as much question as you can. We are here for chapter 5 or chapter 6. I'm not in the way to discuss many things, but what I'm trying to do with you before we end this class is to remind you as much as you practice, like when you practice to answer this, as I say, King Metis, you will find yourself better and you are confident to answer as much as you can. So thank you very much for listening to this class. I wish to see you next time in a healthy and happier mood. Thank you again.